This is lesson 1B of Discovering Albanian. Now it's evening time, and Iliri and Teuta are talking again. Is this a formal or an informal conversation? That's right, this is an informal conversation. Iliri says, "Good evening, Teuta, how are you?" And Teuta replies, "Fine, thank you, and you?" And Iliri says, "So." Let's listen to this conversation.
Mirëmbrëma Teuta. Si je?
Mirë faleminderit. Po ti?
Çka?
Let's listen to this conversation again. Pay attention to the way we say thank you and how are you.
Mirëmbrëma Teuta. Si je?
Mirë faleminderit. Po ti?
Çka?
Let's go on to dialogue 4. In this dialogue, Breezy is talking to Eanda and he's asking about his friend Trimmy. Breezy says, "Good evening, Eanda, how is Trimmy?" Eanda replies, "Fine, thank you. And Vesa, how is she?" And Breezy says, "Very well." Let's listen to the conversation.
Mirëmbrëma Ada. Si është Trimi?
Mirë faleminderit. Po Vesa si është?
Shumë mirë.
Let's listen to this conversation again, and this time try to discover how we say very well and how we ask and.
Mirëmbrëma Ada. Si është Trimi?
Mirë faleminderit. Po Vesa si është?
Shumë mirë.
Okay, let's see what we discovered in dialogue 3. We learned how to say good evening. Here we have the word mirëmbrëma. Mirëmbrëma, that means good evening. Notice that the word mir means fine or well, so here this means good evening. Brema is going to be evening. We also learned how to say thank you. Faleminderit. Faleminderit. Notice that here we also learned how to say so. Çka. Çka. And we learned how to say how are you? Si je. Now notice that literally we are saying how are. We don't say you. In Albanian, the verb already tells you what person you have, so notice that the subject is not necessary in this case. So how are you is just how are. Si je. And then and you, we say po ti. Po ti. That's and you. Let's listen to this dialogue again, now that we understand every part.
Mirëmbrëma Teuta. Si je?
Mirë faleminderit. Po ti?
Çka?
Let's see what we learned in dialogue 4. Here we still have good evening, mirëmbrëma. Now we are asking about Trimmy. So we're saying, how is Trimmy? Notice that we have a new form of the verb to be here, është. Është is the equivalent of how is Trimmy. So how is Trimmy? Mir, we already knew. Fine, well, thank you. Mir faleminderit. Po Vesa, si është. Notice again that we don't need to say she. How is she? Because we understand the person from the verb. Si është. And now we also learn how to say very well. Shumë mirë. Shumë means very, and mir means good or well. So that's what we learned in dialogue 4. Let's listen to this dialogue again.
Mirëmbrëma Ada. Si është Trimi?
Mirë faleminderit. Po Vesa si është?
Shumë mirë.
Now we're going to study the verb to be in Albanian. The verb to be is the verb jam. In Albanian, they don't list verbs by the infinitive like we do in English. They use the first person singular. So in this case, it would be the form that we use for I am. As you remember, we say un jam. So jam is going to be then the name for the verb to be. But before we learn the verb to be, we're going to learn how to say he and she. He, we say ai, and she, we say ayo. Ai, ayo. Now we're ready to look at the paradigm for the verb to be. So here we have un jam, ti je, ai është, ajo është. And as you know, this is equivalent then to I am, you are, he is, she is. Now remember that the tie is informal. In this lesson, we also learned how to answer how are you. We saw that how are you, informal, would be siye, and we could answer that we are well, we are very well, or we are so-so. So mir is well, shumir, very well, and chka, so-so. We also learned how to say thank you, faliminderit, and we also learned how to say good morning, mirbenjes, and in these dialogues we learn how to say good evening, mirembrema. Okay, now that we reviewed all the vocabulary, let's move on to the dialogues. Listen to the dialogue first, you should understand everything, and then you should repeat with the speakers. Let's go. Here's dialogue 3. This time just listen.
Mirëmbrëma Teuta. Si je?
Mirë faleminderit. Po ti?
Çka?
Now read with the speakers.
Mirëmbrëma Teuta. Si je?
Mirë faleminderit. Po ti?
Çka?
And here's dialogue 4. This time just listen.
Mirëmbrëma Ada. Si është trimi?
Mirë faleminderit. Po vesa si është?
Shumë mirë.
And this time read with the speakers.
Mirëmbrëma Ada. Si është trimi?
Mirë faleminderit. Po vesa si është?
Shumë mirë.